Have you ever wondered why Satan so desperately wanted Moses' body after his death? This question may seem disturbing or even bizarre, but it has deep roots in biblical accounts. Moses, an imposing figure in history, led the Israelites from Egyptian slavery to the doorstep of the Promised Land. He was the channel for the commandments, a beacon of hope and faith. But what happened after his death was shocking. According to the Bible, God hid Moses' body in a secret place, but then something strange happened. The archangel Michael and the devil fought over Moses' body. This is recounted in the book of Jude, verse 9, showing a serious fight between the archangel Michael and Satan over Moses' body. This scenario raises more questions than answers. So, let's delve into the biblical events surrounding Moses' death and this peculiar dispute. Moses, the man who led the Israelites out of Egypt, who received the commandments directly from God, and who guided his people toward the Promised Land, was now on the verge of death. His life was filled with extraordinary encounters, divine revelations, and powerful miracles. However, just before entering the Promised Land, he made a grave mistake that nearly cost him his ministry. God had specifically asked Moses to speak to the rock so that water would gush out and the children of Israel could drink. But unfortunately, due to the pressure from the Israelites, Moses, in anger, turned to the people and said, Must we bring you water out of this rock?" Although this statement may have sounded innocent, it had very serious consequences. Moses' first mistake was using the word Iwie instead of saying God. It was God's power that would bring the water, not Moses. By saying Iwie, it implied that Moses attributed some level of power to himself. Secondly, Moses struck the rock when God had actually said to speak to it. Immediately after doing this, God told Moses that he would no longer enter the Promised Land because of his mistake. Think about it. Can you imagine all that Moses went through only to lose it in the end? After which he died. The book of Deuteronomy narrates the event of Moses' death, saying, So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord, and he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor. But no one knows his grave to this day. This passage tells us that Moses died in the land of Moab, according to God's words, and then, in a mysterious and divine act, God himself buried Moses. This is an uncommon occurrence in the Bible. God, the creator of the universe, personally involving himself in the burial of a man. It is not often that we hear of God conducting a burial. This act of divine intervention signals the special bond that Moses shared with God. Moses was not just a servant, he was a friend. And in this friendship, we see a remarkable act of love, respect, and honor. But then a question arises. Why did God choose to bury Moses in a secret place? Why was the location of his grave kept hidden from the world? The answer to this question leads us to a deeper exploration of God's wisdom and Satan's cunning plans. We find Michael the archangel and Satan engaged in a fierce dispute, not here on earth, but in the heavenly realms. This was no ordinary argument. Satan came to claim Moses' body. His bold move is met with resistance by none other than Michael the archangel. The Bible does not provide all the details of the celestial confrontation, but we know that Michael, firm in his divine duty, resisted Satan's claim. An angel of great power and authority stood his ground. However, he did not rebuke Satan in his own name or power, but said, the Lord rebuke you." Here we see the humility and wisdom of the archangel Michael, who acknowledges that the power to rebuke Satan comes solely from God. One might ask why a celestial being like Satan would be so interested in the mortal remains of Moses. What could he gain by possessing the body of a man who had already died? Firstly, there is a chance that Satan wanted to prevent Moses from being resurrected or assumed into heaven. Satan may have mistakenly assumed that God planned to take Moses to heaven, just like Elijah or Enoch. In the Gospel of Matthew, Moses appeared with Elijah on the Mount of Transfiguration with Jesus. Satan, being the cunning adversary he is, may have tried to prevent this from happening by taking possession of Moses' body. Another significant reason why Satan wanted Moses' body was that he probably wanted to use it as an object of idolatry for the Israelites. Remember the incident of the golden calf in Exodus. Knowing this, Satan may have intended to tempt them to venerate Moses' body or relics. This would have been an effective way to divert them from true worship of God. In his wisdom, God may have hidden Moses' body to protect his people from this trap. The third reason is that Satan, referred to as the accuser in Revelation, may have wanted to accuse Moses of his past sins and unworthiness before God. Satan could have used Moses' past failures, such as killing an Egyptian, breaking the tablets of the law, or striking the rock instead of speaking to it, as grounds for condemnation. The devil loves to accuse and condemn, and Moses, despite his great works, was not without sins. Lastly, Satan may have wanted to mock God's plan and power by seizing Moses' body. Satan may have tried to claim a trophy of his victory over God's chosen leader and mediator. In his pride and rebellion, the devil constantly seeks to challenge God and his plans. But let us remember this: while Satan's cunning nature knows no bounds, God's wisdom also does not. God's power and wisdom are infinitely greater than Satan's schemes. Even when Satan fought hard for Moses' body, it was God who had the final say. God's purposes cannot be frustrated, and his plans cannot be thwarted. Beyond the dispute, there is a greater lesson. It is a story we unravel today, a complex narrative woven into the fabric of our faith, a story of God's chosen leader, Moses, and the battle that ensued over his lifeless body. Let us look beyond the battle, beyond Satan's motives, and find the greater message hidden in this story. First, it is a reminder of the importance of true worship. The Israelites time and again fell into the trap of idolatry, whether it was the golden calf or the bronze serpent. They were easily swayed from worshiping the one true God. The potential use of Moses' body as an object of veneration underscores the struggle, reminding us to keep our worship focused solely on God. Second, it is a testimony that God's grace extends beyond our failures, and that his love is stronger than our past shortcomings. Finally, this story serves as a sharp reminder of the need to resist Satan's temptations. Satan is cunning and will use any means to divert us from God's path. But, as Archangel Michael demonstrated, with faith and the power of God's word, we can resist these temptations. True worship is much more than just going to church or saying beautiful words. It is how we live and show our love for God every day. It is as if God were a very special friend whom we always want to please and be near. When we truly worship, we try to do what is right, take care of those around us, and be thankful for all the good things we have in life. It is a way of saying thank you to God, not just with words, but also with our actions. God bless.